Department of Buildings is now issuing vacate orders to a synagogue over an illegal underground tunnel in the building. Police say 9 men were arrested on criminal mischief and reckless endangerment charges for using a hole they dug in the wall to access the Brooklyn synagogue during off hours. Brad Milkey, host of the Start Here podcast, is here with more on this. Brad, this all came about because police were responding to reports of a damaged wall and a disorderly group outside. So how did that turn into a secret passageway? And what else do you know about what this was being used for?
Yeah, this is a really wild story, Diane. And I think a lot of New Yorkers don't even know when they pass this brick synagogue in Crown Heights in Brooklyn that they're passing one of the most significant religious sites in the city. So this has stood for decades as the center of the Chabad Lubavitcher movement, which is known worldwide. In fact, attracts worshipers from all over the world who come and pray at this synagogue and come and worship. Some people get visas to study at the yeshiva here. And so what leaders of the synagogue found out recently, apparently, was that some followers, some members had built a secret tunnel going from other buildings into this space, which was shocking to them. They decided this wasn't okay with the leaders of the synagogue. They bring in a cement mixer to fill it all in, and that's when there's this huge confrontation. Men, as if they were protecting sort of a tree in the forest from being torn down, they actually sit in the tunnel itself to keep it from being filled in. Police are called. There's actually a huge brawl at the site. At one point, people were tearing off pieces of wood to kind of create a barricade, and eventually that results in actually a scuffle with police. Irritant gas is used, and then arrests are made. So really an unbelievable situation that actually exposed some pretty deep fissures in this pretty insular community.
So how are officials from this synagogue responding now? Well,
this actually created a pretty deep divide, or exposed a divide that's been there for years, because you have to sort of understand about this religious sect to understand why this tunnel was even being perhaps made, is that for years, this site at 770 Eastern Parkway was led by this world-famous rabbi known simply as the Rebbe, who created all this. He died in 1994, but until then he had been arguing for this site to be expanded, saying we need more space. It's actually a pretty cramped space for the number of followers who are there. Well, there are some members of this sect who believe that the Rebbe's not dead. In fact, they see him as a living Messiah, and so in honor of him, there are even disputes over whether they should put a plaque up at the synagogue saying he was dead, because people said, no, he's not. And so there were arguments over whether, we should expand this site. Some people thought it was moving too slowly, and so some have speculated that some of these sort of young, more extremist men, younger guys, some of them perhaps even from Israel, decided in his honor to build this tunnel. The synagogue says it's a terrible look for the entire religion, for the entire site, and that's why they're so worried, especially considering these guys might have done more harm than good. Like you said, they're issuing that vacate order.
Now, Brad, this tunnel connects 4 neighboring buildings. So have any other buildings been impacted here, and what happens next?
Well, that's what they're trying to figure out